I'm Paul Levinson, and welcome to Light On, Light Through episode, 324. And I have a review for you of Westworld. That's right, that show is back up on HBO. Episode 4.1 was on just last night, and I liked it. It had a leaner feel and storyline than the previous season, and I thought that worked very well with the meanness which is at large in every season of Westworld. Plus, it had a wallop of a surprise at the end. And of course, I'm not going to tell you that right now, but I will advise you that there are spoilers ahead. So let's get to the episode. Maeve is in great shape, forced out of some kind of retirement in the snowy woods because a team is out to kill her. Like a hit woman or agent who hasn't lost her touch after all these years, she disposes of them easily, but of course there'll be more to come. She needs to create her own team, and she starts with Caleb. You know, this almost could be a Liam Neeson movie were it not for the first 3 seasons of Westworld. Caleb is relatively happily married, and he has a daughter who looks like Maeve's daughter, but I assume she's not. To Maeve's steely resolved, well played as always by Thandwi Newton, we have the mentally conflicted Caleb, who is well played by, of course, Breaking Bad's Aaron Paul. Now, I have to admit that part was a little trite, but then again, the opening story with the man in black making like some kind of mobster, I thought that was even triter. But not trite at all is Christina, once Dolores, who is now in New York City writing stories. If she ends up writing a story about sentient AIs, that would be okay with me. Evan Rachel Wood is great as always, and so far she's the most interesting character with the best storyline. Which leads to that surprise at the end. Teddy's back, which I think is a fine move. Not only because I'm sure we'll get a good story about how he ends up now in New York City after how many years? We last saw him back in season 2, but hey, I'm glad he's back because, as you, my loyal listeners, know, I like to see some true love in a story. And let's face it, Westworld certainly could use some of that. And I'll see you back here next week with my review of the next episode of the 4th season of Westworld. And I hope you enjoyed that review of Westworld 4.1. You know, I jumped in and did that review before my promised review of The Man Who Fell to Earth, and come to think of it, my promised review of For All Mankind. But I wanted to get going with Westworld. I will, however, soon be reviewing the new episodes of For All Mankind and The Man Who Fell to Earth. And then, of course, as the week progresses, I'll be back here with a review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds and The Orville, which, as Joel McKinnon and I discussed in a recent interview he did with me for his Seldon Crisis podcast, well, hey, I think The Orville is every bit as good as some of the Star Trek series. In fact, in some ways better. Anyway, in the meantime, stay safe, stay sound. I don't know if you saw the Russians bombed Kiev, a civilian apartment building. That's the kind of monsters the Ukrainians are dealing with. So please do whatever you can to help those brave people in Ukraine get Putin's hordes out of their country once and for all.
The Light on Light Through podcast Athens, 2042 AD. She ripped the paper in half, then ripped the halves, then ripped what was left again into bits and pieces of history that could have been. Sierra Waters had read once that, years ago, it was thought that men made love for the thrill, while women made love for the sense of connection it gave them.
Curled Up with a Good Book says, Sierra Waters is sexy as hell. You can find out more about The Plot to Save Socrates by Paul Levinson at theplottoSaveSocrates.com.
Paul Levinson Silk Code about an ancient biotech war raging on in secret for centuries.